The Random Legacy by Simsfall Lizzie UK. Gen 1, Chapter 3. Time flew by, and Mandi was happy. She loved being in a relationship with Daichi, and she loved her life in the city. She spent her time gaming with her boyfriend, chatting with Lily out in cafes, and experiencing the city festivals. Mandi always loved the festivals, and the unique atmospheres that they all brought to their neighbourhoods in San Myshuno. When the Humour and Hijinks festival came to town for the first time since she'd moved in, Mandi thought it would be a lot of fun to go there with Daichi and Lily. She was glad that her boyfriend and her best friend got along well enough to do things like that together. As soon as they arrived at the festival, Mandi went straight for the stall. She bought a snow globe, a festival t-shirt, some fireworks. She was very excited about the fireworks. She wanted to join the jokesters and take part in the competition, but she couldn't wait until the end of the night for fireworks. She pulled out the ones she'd just bought and set them off. Disaster. Mandi later realised that she should perhaps have read the instructions more carefully. She managed to cover herself, Lily and Daichi in soot from head to toe, and Lily in particular was not impressed. They all laughed it off though. Mandi and Lily were best friends. It would take more than a failed firework to come between them. After that, Mandi decided she'd best stay away from fireworks for the time being. She went with Lily and Daichi to the drinks table, and they did what they came to do. They joined the jokesters together. Mandi was very excited to try the drinks that were available, and she thought it would be a lot of fun to spend the evening joking around with the people she cared about the most in the world. Certainly an evening well spent. There were a lot of people around, some chatting and sitting at tables, some trying their hand at stand-up comedy. Mandi loved the feel of this festival. Her and Daichi's clothes seemed to fit with the jokesters' colour theme as well, although it hadn't been intentional. After having their drinks and cleaning themselves up a bit in the bathroom, Mandi went to sit with Daichi and Lily at one of the tables, and they had a great evening just chatting, getting to know each other, joking around. Daichi's jokes always had Mandi hysterical. He was hilarious, and he always knew how to make her laugh. Even Lily, who was usually quite serious, couldn't help but laugh at Daichi's antics. Mandi was certain that she'd found herself a winner with him. She and Daichi just seemed to fit together perfectly, and whenever she was around him, she was just so happy. She wanted to take things further with him. Maybe they should talk about that at some point. For now, though, she was happy just to sit with him and Lily and enjoy the festival. The jokesters managed to win the festival, and of course, the prize was more fireworks! Perhaps it was smart of Lily to take off pretty sharpish after the winning team was announced, because Mandi somehow managed to do it wrong again. Something had to be up with these things. Maybe it was the pranksters' fault. She wouldn't put it past them. Even though she and Daichi were covered in soot again, they were both too happy to care. And besides, it gave Mandi the perfect excuse to invite Daichi back to her apartment to get cleaned up. Once they were back at Mandi's flat, she couldn't resist any longer. They ended up in her room, in her bed, and they were all over each other. Having Daichi here with her, and being with him like this, just felt so right in that moment to Mandi. And she wanted him more than she ever had before. She had no doubt in her mind that he was the only one she wanted to be with. "I love you," she gasped between kisses, and he paused, breaking away for a moment to meet her eyes. For a moment, Mandi feared she'd made a horrible mistake. She knew Daichi had a fear of commitment. But as he looked back at her, there was no fear in Daichi's eyes. Only kindness and a soft sort of confidence. "I love you too, Mandi," he told her, pulling her back into his arms, and she kissed him again with a victorious smile. He said it back. He loved her too. They'd had a wonderful time at the festival, and now they were in love, and now Daichi's hands were inching towards the waist of her skirt. She woke up the next morning smiling widely as her mind was instantly filled with memories of the night before, and she turned her eyes to Daichi, who was in bed beside her, snoring quietly. Today was going to be another good day. She just knew it. It felt right waking up next to Daichi. That was the moment when she knew. She wanted to live with him. She wanted to wake up beside him every morning. It was fast, but they had said they loved each other the previous night. Perhaps he would agree. Mandi spent a lazy morning at home with Daichi, seeing as it was the weekend, and just after lunch, she knew just what she wanted to do. She'd spotted a place in the arts quarter when she visited with Lily that would be perfect for a mural, and she really wanted to try her hand at painting one. She bought some cans of spray paint, and then she went with Lily and Daichi to the place she'd seen, and they started painting together. Mandi thought it would be more fun to do it together. Lily left after a couple of hours, seeing as she and Victor had work to do. Work kept Lily very busy, but Daichi stayed with Mandi until it was finished. They started with a white background for a painting, and then simply followed their inspiration, working together to create the vision that was in Mandi's mind. An image of nature, a beautiful contrast to all those amazing skyscrapers that Mandi loved so dearly. A balance. Finally, after the sky had fallen dark, Mandi and Daichi finished the mural together. They stood there for a bit and just looked at it, their work of art that they'd created together side by side. Wow, Daichi said, and looked at Mandi before looking back to the mural. We made that. That's awesome. He looked up at Mandi again, and she tore her eyes from their artwork to meet Daichi's eyes. He had gorgeous dark eyes, and she honestly felt as though she could look into them forever. She'd never tire of opening her eyes to see his looking back at her. Back to your place? He asked, and Mandi nodded, smiling. She loved having Daichi round at her apartment, and tonight she wanted to ask him to stay there. She wasn't afraid, and it felt like the right time. Just like the previous night. They'd been going out for a little while, and Mandi wanted Daichi to stay with her. They made their way back to 2B Jasmine Suites, and collapsed onto the sofa, tired after a long day of painting. Daichi slung his arm around Mandi's shoulders and gave her an exhausted smile, although his eyes were awake with energy, and Mandi could see nothing but love in those eyes. What are you thinking about? He asked softly. You look like something's bothering you. Not bothering me. She looked away, blushing a little. I'm just thinking about us. All good things, I hope. Yeah. Stay here with me, Daichi. Of course, I love staying the night with you. No, I mean, live here. Move in with me. He raised his eyebrows, surprised. You serious? You want me to live with you? Yeah. I mean, it's okay if you don't want to, but I love having you around, and I... Relax, he interrupted her, smiling again, and leaning across to give her a kiss. I would love to. After last night, I think it's pretty obvious that this is serious. I'd be honoured to move in with you. She relaxed. Good. Good. I don't have a lot of stuff, he mused. I can move it in the morning. Tonight I think we should celebrate our first night of living together. My Sims racing? Oh, I love you so much, Mandi responded with a grin, and she went to fetch the controllers for her console. Video games with Daichi felt like the perfect way to celebrate moving in together. They spent the rest of the night gaming together on the sofa, and it was just the perfect night. Mandi felt so fortunate to be living with the man she loved. She'd only been in the city a few months, and she'd found love, friendship. Of course, a boyfriend she could play video games with had to be the perfect man for her. A new relationship milestone, followed by My Sims racing before bed. In Mandi's opinion, it was the perfect night. Thank you for coming back for Chapter 3 of The Random Legacy. I'm really enjoying sharing this on YouTube and making these videos. I mean, they're only quite short, but I'm only having like a few scenes in one video, but yeah, I'm really enjoying making it, so I hope you guys are enjoying the story as well. I hope you're liking the plotline with Mandi and Daichi, and yeah, I mean, I started this legacy when I just got city living, so I was using it to explore that a lot. So most of the plotline does just follow playing through the city living pack. And then we get onto some different stories in the second generation, so I hope you'll stay, and yeah, there are lots of exciting things ahead. I can't wait to show you.